While it is still too soon to assess the total damages, we know that the storm made landfall as a Category 3, which means over 120 mile per hour winds and up to 10 inches of rain in some areas. Peak storm surge in some places along the coast. It has peaked right now, but it could surpass once they measure over 15 feet of storm surge. We'll get exact numbers as they're able to go in and assess what the total storm surge was. And in fact, Idalia is the strongest storm to hit this part of Florida, to make landfall in this part of Florida in over 100 years. But FEMA and the entire Biden-Harris administration, we were prepared and we were ready to support the needs of this storm. As I mentioned, we have actually over 1,500 federal responders that are on the ground in the affected area. This includes over 300 personnel from FEMA, as well as over 500 urban search and rescue personnel ready to support any of the state's requests. As of 7:30 this morning, and I know these numbers are dynamic and fluid, but as of 7:30 this morning, there are nearly 300,000 customer outages for power in Florida, and we do expect those numbers to continue to rise as the storm passes through and goes into Georgia, and we'll see power outage numbers for Georgia, South Carolina, and perhaps North Carolina. Our partners at the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers are pre-positioned to support power restoration, and they have over 30 generators that are pre-staged. Additionally, the utilities are preparing for storm impacts, including pre-staging crews and equipment outside of the projected storm track. And the state anticipates a total of about 30,000 to 40,000 linemen in Florida to begin to assist in the power restoration efforts. People that are still in the storm's path, however, as you heard from Corrine, they should not venture out into the storm and remain sheltering in place if your local officials are telling you to do so. However, if you are in trouble and you need immediate assistance, please call 911. As you do go out, do not wade in the water. Do not drive through flooded roads and streets. Just remember, turn around, don't drown. Unfortunately, we see so many fatalities after the storm passes. We want to make sure that everybody is taking the right precautions to keep themselves safe. And as always, please continue to listen to your local officials as this storm continues to pass over Georgia currently and into South Carolina. Please check on your friends and your family and your loved ones, especially older adults and people living with disabilities, to see if they have any needs. In closing, I just want to remind people that this is still very much an active situation. Remnants of the storm are still affecting Florida as we speak. The storm is over Georgia and moving into South Carolina. People there and in the Carolinas will continue to experience impacts throughout the day today and possibly into the weekend. Again, FEMA is well postured with our federal partners to support Floridians during this time of need and stands ready to support other affected states as needed. With that, I can take any questions.
Thank you. Administrator, what are you most concerned about over the next day or two, since you just said it's too early right now to assess the extent of damage in Florida?
Yeah, my biggest concern is those people who chose not to evacuate, and I know that our local first responders, the heroes that are out there in those local communities, are doing an amazing job already of going into the areas where people did not evacuate and helping to get them to safety. I think that is our priority through the day today, is to make sure that everybody is safe after this storm has passed. As we go into the next few days, we're going to want to assess what the total amount of damage is and see what immediate needs need to be put forth in order to help support and start the recovery process.
Administrator Criswell, thank you so much. Could you just take us a little bit into that briefing that you had with the president today? What is he most concerned about? What was he most focused on? Any other direction that he gave to you other than to fly down to Florida? And then secondly, you said that Governor DeSantis is satisfied with the federal response, doesn't need anything additional. Was there anything else discussed on that call?
Yeah, the president's main concern is making sure that we are bringing everything that we have in to support these states as they're having immediate response response and life-saving needs or beginning to start their assessment and their recovery process. I think it's incredibly important that our governors know that we are ready and postured to bring in all federal resources to support any of their life-saving and their life-sustaining needs in the very near future. The conversation with Governor DeSantis was that, reiterating the fact that we already have over 1,500 personnel there in the area to be able to support, and the governor currently has no unmet needs, but as we begin to assess, right, as the governor assesses and as I get on the ground tomorrow to assess, we'll see what additional needs might be there and if any of those resources need to be employed or we need to move more into the area.
Has the president spoken yet with the governors of Georgia or South Carolina as well, or any plans for that to happen?
I believe he was preparing to contact them after I left so I could come to this briefing.